I was sat in the toilet in absolute agony, blood dripping from my butt, sitting there thinking I'm scared to leave the bathroom or else I'd crap my pants. I remember thinking to myself, why do I have this horrible disease? Every flare seemed to get worse and worse. Every time I seemed to go back on the meds, they seemed to relieve the symptoms. But then not long after I come off the medication, I'd end up having another flare up. And it just seemed to be like a never ending cycle of flares, back on the medication, flares, back on the medication. I was not healing when it come to root cause. All I was doing was masking the symptoms with the medications and not actually getting to the point of where I was healed. The doctors had let me down and I felt pissed off and I felt uncared for, because all they wanted to do was tick the boxes and give me medication and say, right, that's it, now you're going to get in remission, you can get out. And I was not going to accept that. I knew that there was a better way to healing, and that's what I'm going to go into in this video. But what I'm going to do is help you out, that if you ever have a flare, this video is for you. Now, the first thing you want to do if you have a UC flare is don't panic. Stress will worsen your symptoms. I know what it's like. This is literally one of the first things that we do. As soon as we see blood, as soon as we start having urgency again, stress comes on like that. And we're like, shit, why is this happening again? What is it that I can do? What do I need to do now? What have I eaten in the last 24 hours? What stressful event have I had? It's about time we looked at what stress actually does in the system. So stress itself increases inflammation. Now it activates the HPA axis, which is basically the central stress response system. So if you think about it like this, so say if you've got a thermostat and every time you have a cortisol spike, so every time you get stressed, you get cortisol levels that spike. Now the cortisol is great because it helps with inflammation. But if you've got a thermostat that dials itself up when the cortisol goes up, when the inflammation is there and the stress is there, to obviously reduce it down, then naturally it should come back down and then it should be back into a normal state. But what happens if that thermostat gets locked in like full on? So you end up getting a bit of stress. You increase the cortisol, then all of a sudden the thermostat breaks and then you're stuck with cortisol levels keep rising and rising, or they keep staying the same, so you're constantly in a stress state. Now this will cause inflammation in your system, and this is what happens. So when you have a flare or you're in a stress situation and you constantly stress, it's like basically leaving the thermostat on. You're causing more and more inflammation inside of your body. Then this can disrupt your gut-brain axis. Now this is the connection between your gut and your brain. Now this will slow down your digestion, this will impairs your gut mobility. It also cause you to have a dysfunctional gut microbiome, and all these things then will cause things like irritability, depression, anxiety, leaky gut. These will also cause SIBO. It'll also cause brain fog and more flares because it's just all basically building up inside of your intestines. So obviously this will all agitate your bowels. This will basically cause you to have more diarrhea. This will have more cramping, more abdominal pain, more bloating, fatigue, joint pain, less sleep, immune dysfunction. So you're not going to be able to fight off colds and stuff as well as that you did before. Have you ever noticed that when you have more flares, you end up with more viruses? That's because your immune system is going out of whack, so it's not being able to fight off all these different viruses and stuff that's coming into your system. All this delays healing, which then causes oxidative stress. Now the way to look at oxidative stress is like a car that's open to the elements. So say you have a car that's got no paint on it. You know it's going to get rusty pretty fast unless you obviously put paint on it. So it's open to the elements, open to the wind, the rain. Before you know it, there's loads and loads of stress, loads of rust that's on your car, which then is causing your car to rot down. And this is exactly the same as stress. The more and more stress you have on your system and you're not getting rid of it and you're not basically putting a layer of paint on it, like you're not protecting your immune system, you're not protecting your gut, you're not protecting your stomach, everything that you're not doing will then end up causing it to get worse and worse and worse over the coming months, years. Before you know it, you might end up having to have your large colon removed because the stress has gotten that bad that you've never gotten out of that high cortisol state, which then has constantly kept you in flares. So every time you come off medication, you just still be flaring, medication and flaring again. So I think that's what happened to me over the course of the 12 years, is the fact that I never got to the root cause, reduced the inflammation and got everything into balance. So every time I went on medication, it seemed like it was getting into remission, but in actual fact all it was doing is masking the symptoms. And as soon as I come off them, it was like, right, okay then, we've got all these things that's still going on here, none of them have been healed. So next thing you do, stress again, inflammation, and hey presto, another flare up. But if you fast forward to today, I have been in clinical remission now for the last 22 months following my protocol that I've designed in the top link in the description. It goes into how to deal with stress, how to deal with SIBO, how to deal with leaky gut, how to deal with getting in a state where you aren't being controlled by these flares. Now, imagine the fact that you'd be able to go out and do what you want, not have to worry about crap in your pants. Imagine that you'll be able to not be on medication, or you'll be able to have a full happy life. Top link in the description. Now the second thing you need to do is reduce the amount of damage that's happening. So you need to remove all irritants. So when you're in a flare, you need to be keeping your body in a great space to stop anything else ruining your bowels even further, to make them more inflamed, to make them feel more damaged. So this is by removing plants, sugar, processed crap, seed oils. Now why is this such a massive impact on your bowels? So plants basically have toxins in them. So these toxins can then irritate your bowels, which is just going to cause more symptoms and more irritation, more blood. Then you've got fiber, which fiber is basically like sandpaper. And if you imagine like it's going through your bowels, it's really, really inflamed, and then you just have this thing that just can't even be digested. I literally just go scraping, like as someone on a blackboard or something, literally all the time scraping all the way through. That is also gonna cause more inflammation. It's gonna cause more irritation. Then you've got processed garbage. Processed garbage is filled with all sorts of chemicals that we wouldn't have been eating up 100 years ago, let alone 1,000 years ago or 1,000,000 years ago. All these are man-made chemicals to make sure it lasts longer, to fill it out, and to make it more addictive. And you're eating these fucking things every single day in your little shitty bars and biscuits and crisps and whatever else it is. They put all these things in the food. We're not designed to digest it. So removing them will help that amazingly get them out of your diet. You do not need them. Then obviously you got seed oils. Now there's a debate if people think seed oils are bad, they're not, whatever. Seed oils are not good, in my opinion. I think you should stay away from seed oils because they can cause more inflammation when it comes to obviously your bowels, and that's because they're higher in omega-6s. Now you are supposed to have a balance between omega-6s and omega-3s, but when you have loads of seed oils, that omega-6s just goes up because you're not really eating too much omega-3s, so they just go higher and higher and higher, which then obviously will cause oxidative stress inside your body. So stay clear of seed oils. So obviously all this then will cause more damage, heal slower, and basically ruin your immune system. The third thing that you want to do is you want to go back to prehistoric living. Now what the fuck is that, you're thinking? It's basically going back to before all this technology, all the agriculture, everything else, and you're getting sunlight, you're getting meditation, you're touching the soil and digging and, getting your hands dirty. You're also going to sleep at a reasonable time. You're also just doing everything that you could possibly think of doing to help you heal. Because all this stress that we had going on in our lives right now to do with work and everything else and making sure we earn enough money, and it's all causing stress inside your body. So it's about going back to prehistoric living where, if you can, it's about getting to the root cause, the root level of gut, brain, nervous system, and basically your spirit. All of these need to be in balance together, because if not, if one of them's out of whack, that can cause it. So what do you want to do? You want to eat like a true human. You want to basically just eat meat or animal products, get sun, reduce stress, prioritize rest, live outside the social cage of being inside a workplace all fucking hours of the day and then coming home and being in another house where it's all caved in and you're literally just inside breathing the same shit. You're not outside, you're not touching soil, you're not feeling that air on your face. And it's about reclaiming the tribe and purpose in your life. The true way of healing isn't just about, adding medication here or doing like small little things. It's about getting into a life that's full spectrum of healing, because you're only ever going to heal fully if you embrace every part of your life. Now I'll go into more detail about this inside my protocol, about how you can live a better life and how you can heal using obviously natural prehistoric ways, Here's the top link in the description. Let me know in the comments below what you'll start today to help you heal your UC. And if you like the content, then just like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.